Yeah, because it's a big subject, but I'll try and condense it. Well,
Cool.
but first thing is, some of you will have heard about Incredible Edible when I spoke last, and if you didn't, we have a For the Many Mondays YouTube channel, and you can go there. Please subscribe and have a look for that talk, and that will tell you in more depth what we're doing locally with Incredible Edible Hambridge. What I'm going to do is very briefly recap on what it is, and then I'm going to broaden and deepen the talk, if you will, and link the production of food to more like a sort of socio-political, to community activism, and then to the much broader global socio-political issues. Now, I'm not an expert, and unfortunately, I'm not really a detailed person, but I understand big picture and these issues. And I want to just give you one thing to think about: why growing some vegetables in Hambridge is part of this big picture. And this is the principle now, okay? That healthy and nutritious food is a fundamental right. Healthy and nutritious food is a fundamental right. So it is right up there, getting access to good food that you can afford or even grow yourself, that you may have the land, which is able to be farmed, and the help that you need to grow that food, that is a fundamental right. And we know that this is being impacted by environmental catastrophe. We know that in the global south, there is massive food insecurity. But what we are in denial about, perhaps, and certainly coronavirus has revealed this to us, is that in our very country, we have food insecurity. And what happened during the pandemic was, as we know, the little fracture lines, the fault lines, the weaknesses in our society started to fracture. And what the government did was decided it would rely on the supermarkets to provide us with food. But we know even at a local level that a massive endeavour took place to provide communities with food via mutual aid groups, food banks, and Councillor Adam Langham's community hub. And it was needed. It was definitely needed. And it continues to be needed, because we've seen in the news recently that there's been a massive rise in the number of children applying for free food vouchers at school meals, right? So we have food insecurity in this country, okay? So so that sets the scene for you. So just to say that Incredible Edible Hambridge grew out of my bid to become a councillor. I wasn't successful, but I had committed that I would put my energies into two projects. One was more of a sort of community historical legacy project because it interests me. That's the Minerva statue in Hambridge, unique shrine, Roman shrine. And the other was a green project, which was Incredible Edible Hambridge, which is a community growing project. And our banner, if you like, is food to share. So we got a piece of land brokered for us at Industry, which is on Overley Road. Come and see us, please. We have open days, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. And we can socially distance, and it's outside. And there will be sanitizer. So we got help from Friends of the Earth to partner with Industry and get a piece of land on which to grow food. And we got funding from Friends of the Earth, and we got funding from a national network called Incredible Edible. So there is a founding organisation. And what I've been, because I'm not actually a gardener, I'm not good at gardening particularly, but I love to network, and I like to find opportunities, and I love to engage people. So not solely me, but you know, I have pushed forward the idea that we would be part of eco communities, and we are, and part of Welcome Network, which I will describe, and obviously we're part of the Incredible Edible National Network as well. So those are the networks that we are linked to, and they all have this in common, that they want to revolutionize food production and food distribution. Because what is happening is that our food supply chains are breaking down. Coronavirus has done that. And you can be absolutely certain that Brexit will do that as well. And right across the country, there are individual groups. They're not set up by the government, they're set up by communities to look at how to bring funding to bolster, fund, encourage, support local growers. You may think of the Preston model, for example. There is a community there that I'll talk about in a minute, an organisation that feeds into the Preston model. So encouraging local food and encouraging local distribution. And that's one of the things that our Welcome Network does. Now, one of the masterminds behind Welcome Network, of which Incredible Edible is a part, is Steph Ellis, or you might know her as Steph Beecham. She's the wife of Councillor Beecham. And I'll say a little bit more about that in a minute. But yeah, so the supply chains are broken. And the other thing is we need another revolution, which is in the thinking that goes into agriculture. So not just subsidizing this sort of mass soil destroying, heavy farming. And when the EU, well, it's gone now, hasn't it? When those subsidies go, what direction is the government going to take? What we need to be looking at is more of an understanding of agroecology. So what, if I bring that down to local level, what does that mean where I am in Hambridge? We have the no-dig method, and the no-dig method basically goes along, you can look it up. Charles Dowding is the expert on this, and he's really revolutionized the way that we work with soil. But it also links to the whole things about permaculture, which I was hearing about ages ago and had no idea what it meant at all. But now it's becoming very real, and it's something that anybody can do quite easily. And this is part of it is a small part of agroecology, understanding the ecology of how we grow food. Another thing that has happened is that there is food insecurity in the global south. We know this. And that is brought about by environmental change, yes, but it's also brought about by the serfdom, if you like, that is caused by the global north's imposition, the monocultures and so on, our insatiable demands for certain products and market, where the way the markets force farmers to not even save their seeds. And you may be thinking of Monsanto and so on. It all links in, So that's another thing that's happening. And another thing that's happening is that there is no workforce to actually assist the farmers to harvest and then distribute. And that is also Brexit is going to impact on that. So you can see that food is a highly political subject, highly political. And I'm trying to work out ways in which Incredible Edible Hambridge, which is a plot of 2 planters and a small triangular patch, how we can increase our community activism and help. And that is why I've encouraged us to join the Welcome Network and eco-communities locally. So I'll just very briefly say what the Welcome Network, I've got a lot of notes here, but it's all right, Dave, I'm not going to take forever, but I just wanted to give it that setting. So the Welcome Network slogans, this is the easiest way of putting it across in a simple, quick manner to you, is their slogan is community, food, change. And they don't mean pennies in your pocket, obviously. They mean a food revolution. Enabling communities to share good food while seeking long-lasting change to the food system. So Welcome Network, which is a local, it's locally grown by Steph Ellis or Steph Beecham, is a partnership project, and I've got the details here. It includes Cheshire West and Chester Council, Healthbox CIC, Cheshire West Voluntary Action, which is great because then you get your community engagement, really encourage you volunteers, Citizens Advice at Cheshire West, and West Cheshire and Mid Cheshire food banks. And when I was volunteering at the food bank, my manager at the food bank was one of the directors, well, he still is, of the Welcome Network. So it all kind of links together. And they recently, just to give you a little bit insight what's happening locally with Incredible Edible, have set up some funding called Meeting Places. And the aim is to reduce food poverty by developing welcoming spaces for local people and also agencies to come together around food, but for local people, and strengthen relationships with providers in the community, and have a look at reducing social isolation. Of course, there's a whole mental health aspect as well. And Andy and Reese at Industry, where we have our planters, were more than happy for us to put forward Industry as and Incredible Edible in partnership as a meeting place. So we've applied for some funding. And one of the things we've only applied for just under £500. So one of the things we've applied for is a big thermos soup kettle. So that, because they don't have a proper kitchen in Industry, and we want to run some soup days. We can't make it there. We can make it at home and bring it in a thermos soup kettle. They cost about 150 quid for a proper catering, industrial catering sort of quality. And then we can eventually, with all, due COVID consideration, serve food to the community and bring people there where there's hidden hunger or social isolation, that kind of thing, So we're still waiting to hear if they're just discussing it. The panel's making some decisions now on whether we'll get that funding. But if not, we'll have to just look at another way of getting it, because it's actually, the soup kettle's quite fundamental to community events centering around sharing food. One of the principles of Incredible Edible, of which we are a part, is their vision is to create kind, confident and connected communities through the power of food. So that's the ethos that we're replicating in Hambridge. And another strapline, which I absolutely love, of Incredible Edible, is believe in the power of small actions. So this is about your community activism on the ground. This is about people coming and watering some plants. That's a small action, but it's part of everything that reaches out, like this massive reaching out, I mean, you watering that plant, you can't say causally, I have helped someone in the global south, but you are part of that movement when you water that plant in Hambridge. You are. It's this interconnectedness that is so important with this. So I went to listen to some of the What If eco communities run by Friends of the Earth. They ran some crowdcasts, that's webinars recently, and Anne and Nigel mentioned them. And there was a fantastic one, What if we all grow food? I think it was called something like that. And the link will come to you. David will send you the link. And Samantha Roddick was talking. Now, this is what has really fired me up, because Samantha Roddick, that surname may be vaguely familiar to some of you, especially if you're my age. You may be going, oh, do I know the Roddick? And she's connected to the Anita Roddick, who started the Body Shop. And the Body Shop was actually activism. It was biodiversity, and it was supporting communities in the global south to have small local businesses producing ingredients that Anita then used in the Body Shop. So that's where it started, and now it's just become like, oh, it's on the high street, you go in there for some smelly stuff, I'm sure they still retain the principles, but it was very evident in the early days. And where I lived in Brighton in the 70s, there was the second body shop opened, I think it was. It was quite interesting. Anyway, Samantha Roddick, go and check out her talk, because I haven't done her justice at all. But she works with Farming the Future, which exists to strengthen and amplify the movement for an agroecological system of food and farming, a vital antidote to the industrial food system and the associated twin challenges of environmental damage and societal, is that how you pronounce it? Societal inequality. So, I mean, when you think about it, she was just extraordinary and so passionate. And that's what this Farming the Future is doing. They pool funds, knowledge and networks right across the world, actually. So collective wisdom and imagination. And what they vision is a holistic, resilient, fair food system for all, for now and for future generations. So that goes back to that first thing I said to you. Healthy and nutritious food is a fundamental right. And it absolutely, totally fascinating. And in the same, you can go listen to a replay. I think, I'm not sure how long they're up there. I think they're possibly only up there a week. So go and look at it as soon as you can. Also speaking with her was a lady from something called Lancaster Larder, who feeds into the Preston, what we call it, the Preston model. And she made a very interesting point that if you put £5 a week into your local food economy, now Incredible Edible doesn't take money, we just like you to come put £5 worth of volunteer time in, that's all we'd like. But if you bought at a local shop, it generates millions into the local economy. So you're not putting it in the supermarket, you're just buying something in your local shop. And this again is community activism. You know, so you say, I don't know anything about gardening, I have no time, you know, I can't do these things, but you can go to your local shop and buy some apples, you know. So believe me, it all works. And then finally, I learned on this Eco Communities webinar about gleaning, and I've been thinking about gleaning for a long time. Now, what is gleaning? Now, my husband said to me this morning, I have no idea what gleaning is. And I said, haven't you read about gleaning in the Bible? Oh no, he never reads the Bible. Fine. But gleaning is when you go and pick up what is left and what is not wanted. And you feed your family with that, or your community. And there is now actually gleaning activism, and I've known about this for a while. So basically what happens is, and this isn't serfdom exactly, but this is what our food providers in our damaged, broken system are locked into with supermarkets. Let us simplify it. They have a field of 100 cabbages. I'm simplifying. 80 cabbages are perfectly shaped and are of a certain diameter, and the supermarket buys them. And 20 are not, and they are left to rot in the field, because remember, we don't have the workers coming from the EU anymore. So the gleaning projects are when you are notified and you all go there in the open air, beautifully socially distanced, and you glean, and you help the farmer by removing food that would rot, and you help your community or your charity by providing healthy food directly, which you can do cheaply or free. So I am in discussion with Helen Tandy from Friends of the Earth to try and, because she organises all kinds of things. A woman is a miracle, I tell you. She organises litter picks, and I've said, let us organise some gleaning. So you basically get yourself to a farm and you pick vegetables that are going to rot. So again, community action that is trying to help mend our broken system. So I'm sure that that is enough. I've told you a little bit about Incredible Edible, what we're doing, what we're hoping to do with Meeting Places funding, if we get it. I've told you that we're part of these networks, locally Welcome Network and Eco Communities, and I've given you some pointers, some much wider things like Farming the Future and the Lancaster Larder and the Gleaning. And our next open event is Sunday the 18th, between 11 o'clock and 1 p.m. We'll be up at the Plot, number 1 Overley Road, used to be the former Boys Club. We would love to see you. And if you can't make that, come and meet us on our Facebook page. Just put in Incredible Edible Hanbridge and it will come up if you put that in the search in the Facebook. There's so much information that I would just love to share with you, but clearly we have other things to do tonight. But just remember that what I said, healthy and nutritious food is a fundamental right. So thank you for your time, and thank you, David.